Hi everyone, in this video we are going to talk about how we can solve questions involving the energy cycles. Right, so over here I have four different equations, okay, and I want to be able to connect them and to calculate the delta H of this first equation. So this is a delta H solution equation, right? So for example, if I'm given this delta H1, delta H2, and delta H3, I want to be able to solve for delta H solution using an energy cycle. Alright, so the first step that we'll always take is to write down all four of these equations. Alright, this is fairly important. Okay, and the second step for us to do is to connect the equations by looking out for the things that are the same. Alright, then we connect the same species together. So since we are studying the first equation, delta H solution, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down this equation instead. Alright, I'm going to copy this equation down. Okay, and give me Mg2 plus aqueous plus 2Cl minus aqueous. Then I'm going to look for any other things around that I can connect to. And you notice that there's a MgCl2 solid here and MgCl2 solid here. So probably at the bottom, I should be using this equation. Alright, this Mg2 plus gaseous plus 2Cl minus gaseous. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look for some other clues. Alright, Mg2 plus aqueous over here. Alright, there's another equation that's like this, and you notice that it's connected to Mg2 plus gaseous, which is this over here. So I would just draw an arrow like that. So this is my delta H1. Right, and over here, this is my delta H3. And lastly, if I look at this equation here, this Cl minus aqueous is connected to Cl minus gaseous, so I would be able to connect this over. Alright, this will be my delta H2. So notice the direction of my arrows are very important. Okay, I do not flip the arrows around, I just connect the equations together. So right now, the next thing I need to do is to balance the equation. So I need to check if everything is balanced. So I have 1 Mg and 2 Cl2 here. Alright, so 2 Cl here, 1 Mg2 plus 2 Cls. Okay, correct. Mg here, 2 Cls. So balance, the equations are balanced. And the next thing that I'm looking at is to fill the delta H values with the correct coefficient. So notice this delta H3. Alright, this is exactly written in this form. Over here, Mg2 plus to Mg2 gaseous Mg2 plus aqueous is correct. Now I have 2 Cl minus to 2 gaseous to 2 Cl minus aqueous, whereas this equation is only for 1. So what this means is that I need to multiply this by 2. So in order for me to find the delta H solution, okay, I can apply the Hess's law, and I will use delta H solution is equal to here, going in the anti-clockwise direction to this form, because this is my start and this is my end. Alright, this is my delta H solution. So anything that goes against the arrow, this purple arrow will be inverted. So what I will have is over here, this arrow is pointing in the wrong direction. So I'll have negative delta H3 plus delta H1 plus 2 delta H2. Right, so you'll realize that this is the answer. However, notice that there's actually one thing that I forgot to put down when I was balancing the equation. Right, there is this aqueous here that did not appear anywhere else in this question. In fact, it should appear in these cases over here. So where do I put this aqueous? Alright, so usually with extra chemicals that we don't really know where to place them, and we want them to balance the equations, we can just put them on the arrow instead. So this will be a better way to present our answer. Okay, so it doesn't really matter how you present it as long as this presentation makes sense. And one last thing is, notice you might notice that while you are tackling questions, sometimes you see arrows that are grouped together. Right, it is totally fine to group them together. You can even do it in two separate steps. So you can draw it in a way where Mg2 plus gaseous plus 2 Cl minus gaseous turns into 1 Mg2 plus Alright, so this turns into Ng2 plus aqueous plus 2Cl minus gaseous. So basically I'm just copying this here and I'm not touching it. I'm only changing this form, and then in the second step I will then convert my 2Cl minus gaseous to to Cl minus aqueous while I keep this constant. I just copy it down over here. Alright, so there are many ways for you to present the answer, but what is most important is for you to follow this set of rules. Write down the equations, connect the equations together. Alright, balance the equations, make sure that the equations are completely balanced and fill in the relevant delta H values, because at the end of the day we want to be able to find this delta H solution, or rather the delta H reaction, and so we need to draw the energy cycle, get the right coefficients, apply Hess's law, take care of the direction of the arrows, and we'll be able to get our answer. So I hope this clarifies some of the doubts that you have, and with a few practices you will be able to get the hang of it.